I'm with Batya Kallas from Women of the Wall. Now, Batya, what is Women of the Wall?
Women of the Wall is a group of Jewish women representing all the various denominations of Judaism, Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, unaffiliated, who go together once a month on the Jewish New Month, the beginning of the new month, and we pray together as a group of women, the Jewish service, and we do that wearing prayer shawls. Our goal is to be able to read at the Western Wall with wearing our talitot, to read from the Torah, and to sing out loud, to pray out loud at the Western Wall.
So why is it important for you to be allowed to pray at the wall?
Well, the Western Wall is probably the most important national symbol of the Jewish people. It's the remnant of the retaining wall of what was the Second Temple and also the place of the First Temple 2,000 years ago. And so after the temple was destroyed in 70, then the temple became a place of longing for the Jewish people, of spiritual longing. And it was a place where they said, in fact, that the feminine presence of God, what's called in Hebrew the Shekhinah, the presence of God that dwells at the Western Wall, was a place that the Jewish people sent all their longing to. And so when the Jews returned to Israel, and Israel was established in 1948, and then in 1967, when the Western Wall was liberated and that whole Old City area was liberated, it became an area where Jews began to go to pray.
And what is your mission for Women of the Wall?
Well, as I said, Women of the Wall as a group aims to be able to pray as we, as a group of Jewish women and Jewish feminists, be able to seek our own prayer expression and our own prayer customs, which, as I said, is to wear talitot, to read from the Torah. And we believe that Jewish women have the right to be able to do that even though according to Orthodox law, it's not considered customary or acceptable for women to pray in that way.
Is this actually a law that you're not allowed to do it from the Orthodox point of view, or is it just custom?
It's a custom. It's considered to be custom, and in many Orthodox communities, most Orthodox communities, in fact, women don't read from the Torah, women don't wear talitot, and the Western Wall has been, in many ways, defined as a synagogue, even though it's not. It's a national site, and so people go there and pray, and it's prayer that's done according to not only Orthodox custom, but ultra-Orthodox custom, which says that women's voices shouldn't even be heard out loud in prayer. And so you ask the question, is it illegal for Women of the Wall to pray at the Western Wall? The answer is that as of the last month, it is not illegal.
Wow. Now, why is it important for you as a woman to be able to wear the prayer shawl and pray and read the Torah?
Well, I think it's part of it's part of my own personal self-expression as a Jewish woman and as a woman who wants to be involved in prayer services, to be able to do it in a way that reflects my own personal desires.
Now, if the law is actually allowing you to do this, then who is actually stopping you?
Last month, after close to 24 years of struggle, Women of the Wall received a ruling from the Magistrate Court of Jerusalem, which said that we were allowed to be able to pray out loud at the Western Wall. The Supreme Court of Israel had said in two different rulings that it was, in fact, Women of the Wall could not wear talitot or read from the Torah or sing out loud because it went against the custom of the Western Wall. And that opposition is primarily from the ultra-Orthodox community inside of Israel. And particularly the ultra-Orthodox community, that ultra-Orthodox people who go and pray at the Western Wall and who see the Western Wall as a holy site in which women's voices should not be heard.
And what sort of difficulties have you had to face while down there?
Well, as a most recent example, the last month on Rosh Chodesh, after the court ruling that ruled that it was okay for Women of the Wall to pray at the Western Wall, according to our custom, 10,000 ultra-Orthodox people, 6,000 young women, and a large number of ultra-Orthodox men came and basically caused a riot. And they threw stones, and they threw water bottles and threw stink bombs at us, and basically protested in extremely violent ways against our presence there.
That must have been quite scary to be in that sort of situation.
It was quite scary. I mean, it was also quite inspiring, because the police, after we've gone through, about for the last 2 years, there have been monthly arrests because the police believed that they were interpreting the law in such a way that it was actually illegal for us to be wearing talitot and to read from the Torah and to sing out loud. And so every month they were arresting between 1 and 10 women for wearing talitot and taking us away. And so the police, it's been a real struggle for all these 2 years. And now this court decision that was made just a few weeks ago basically turned everything over, so that the police now had to protect us instead of arrest us. That was the big switch. And so when the police came, and there were thousands and thousands of ultra-Orthodox people in the plaza at the Western Wall when we arrived there in the morning, and they protected us. They made a barricade around us and made sure that we would not be attacked. But 2 12-year-old girls were hit in the head with bottles and other flying objects and chairs and things like that.
So was that an answer to prayer, to actually have the police supporting you rather than against you this time?
I guess you could say that. I mean, the police, thank goodness, were following the rule of law. I mean, it was a very good thing.
Now, of course, the old city of Jerusalem was liberated in 1967. Do you feel like you're liberating the wall?
I suppose you could say that. I mean, the Western Wall has been taken over by ultra-Orthodox practice, and I believe that the Western Wall should be a place that should be open to all peoples who want to come and be there and to be able to pray according to their own customs and not just one specific custom, namely the custom of the ultra-Orthodox.
Now, as well as women's rights, are you also fighting for religious rights?
Well, we, as I said, we're a group of Jewish women who believe that women should have the obligation and the right to be able to pray according to our custom. And the other thing I think that Women of the Wall is really struggling for, which is part of a broader social struggle in Israel, is to end gender exclusion in Israel, which is to say that there are forces, mostly in the ultra-Orthodox community, that want to keep men and women totally separate. And so there are separate lines at post offices and separate health clinics, and the extreme separation of men and women at the Western Wall is part of that exclusion. So we feel like we're part of this broader struggle against women's exclusion from public space.
And what sort of things are women forbidden to do in Israel?
Well, women are not really forbidden from doing anything per se, and I mean there are laws governing equality in Israel, and so I wouldn't say that women are forbidden from doing anything. But what has happened is that ultra-Orthodox Jews who want to control public space have basically established certain places, and they'll say, this is a time or a place when only men can be here, or only women could be here, or like on Jewish holidays in religious and ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods, putting up barriers and saying men walk on one side of the street and women walk on the other side of the street. And fortunately, there's been a tremendous outcry against this kind of extreme separation, and saying this is not within Israel's civil law or the rule of law or within Israel's principles of civic equality, that women and men should have such a separation.
And is it difficult to change the minds of the ultra-Orthodox men?
For sure. They're totally opposed to this. They perceive it as a grave threat to their hegemony, I would say. And they really are not only interested, actively opposed to our being there at the Western Wall and praying, singing out loud where our voices are heard in the public space. So I don't actually expect to change their minds, but I do expect that since the court has ruled that we have the right to be there and that we are not offending anybody's custom by being there, that it's in fact pluralistic, Judaism should be expressed at the Western Wall. I have no problem whatsoever with our being there.
Now, do you feel like you're following in the footsteps of some of the great women of the Bible?
Beautiful question. There were many great women in the Bible. The one who just immediately popped into my mind was Dvorah, who was the judge who sat under a tree and was, ruling, was a shofetet, a judge in Israel. And I would hope that our wisdom and our ability and our strength to be able to be there and to be able to be strong women who are also praying women and wise women would be would be like in the footsteps of Devorah.
And finally, what's your prayer for women in Israel?
Well, I pray that women in Israel should have equality, that women in Israel should be able to fully express ourselves in the way that we seek to express ourselves, and that women's potential should be expressed, and ultimately that women should be able to fulfill all of their desires, including that of being able to pray and express themselves as Jewish women at the Western Wall.
And you have a website for people who'd like to know more about what you do. What's your website address?
It's womenofthewall.org.il, and we welcome you to come and visit us and to express your solidarity and support with us.
Okay, Batya, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.